Hi everyone, this is Darkstalkers, the official complete works by UDON Comics and Capcom. So this is actually an art book. It's not a comic book or a manga or anything like that. But since in the last video I didn't do any art, by the way, I did do art, I just decided to divide it into a different video. Rather than just have one video about art, I figured I'd go through this art book. I don't have to really talk about stories since it's just art. So I kind of went over nice opener, right? I kind of went over Darkstalkers and what it is in the last video. So if you don't know what Darkstalkers is, you can catch that sort of explanation in the previous video. But what this book is art from mainly Capcom's primary house artists for the series, both modern illustrations that they did, as well as in-game illustrations. And what's really nice about this book, and I think, if you're an art guy, you should definitely buy this book, especially if you're into Japanese style, or even for those of us who are looking more into sequential art, it's worth picking up this book because it's a great survey of Japanese styles. And not just, the big eyes, triangular chin style that Japan is kind of known for, but also other types of works too. Like, I think this is this guy did it, illustrate, I think this is digital. No, it might not be, but yeah, more importantly, this book contains a ton of art, and, arguably the best art of Capcom's, probably three most famous artists. One is Bengus, also sometimes called Gouda Cheese. It's just a name that he goes by. The other one is Shinkiro, which he's not doesn't have nearly as much art in here. But if you've ever seen anything from King of Fighters or SNK, Shinkiro's art is everywhere. And the other one is Daigo Ikeno. He's also a very famous Capcom artist, as well as a lot of fan art from other people in industry and Udon Comics. Let's see, what's a good one right here? Yeah, this is Shinkiro. Shinkiro, this is his style. It's almost looks like actresses or actors, right? And yeah, this is Yusuke Murata. If you've ever seen One Punch Man, this is his art style right here. Very, very good artist right here. So you got both the chibi style as well as the more classic, beautiful manga style right there. You even have some more almost painted works. Looking right here, it's pretty cool. You have this one. This has got a very American style to it. What's very interesting about the Capcom house artists, because Capcom is a video game company, they often had to do not only their own Japanese video games, but in the early days of Capcom, they had to do a lot of basically licensed work. I think people may not know this, but Capcom did a lot of Disney games in the old days, like a lot of the old 2D side-scrollers. I think Chip 'n Dale's and DuckTales was done by Capcom. I think Capcom did, obviously, a lot of the Marvel games. Capcom did a ton of them. And because of that, the artists and the house artists in Capcom had to sort of draw on many different styles, both Western and Japanese. And it's always really interesting and fascinating. Capcom, obviously I'm a bit of a Capcom fanboy, but their artists are really impressive when you look at just the variants right here. This is Udon work right here. So this is Udon Comics Studios, their house artists, which, by the way, they're very good too. This is Alvin Lee and Christine Choi. Alvin Lee's really good. If you read the comic book series by Udon, it's mostly his art, I think, as well as a couple others. But yeah, Udon does some great stuff. But what's really cool is just the different styles right here, all the different illustrations. So back in the 90s when they were doing concept art, a lot of turnarounds right here. Love the different poses. Like, yeah, Capcom they make such expressive poses in their characters. And the animations in their video games are just, they're so good that it's just, how can you express a character without, any writing or anything else? It's so fun. You can almost play their video games and just get the feel of these characters in one shot. Even did the backgrounds. Look at this. These are the stages. So if you're fighting the video game, you go to the different fighting game stages. This is the concept art for the backgrounds. You have the original character designs where they're trying to figure out what the hell these characters are supposed to be. Some of them, not so great. But it's great. Yeah, if you're a fan of Darkstalkers, obviously you should buy this. But even if you're just a fan of Capcom art or Japanese art in general, you should check it out because it's really cool. It's a lot of different styles and illustrations, right? Pretty cool. You got Felicia right here, the cat lady. You got Morgan, obviously the most popular and famous character of this series. Oh man. Look at these. These are whatchamacallit, I forget what these are called. These are called keyframes. Yeah, keyframes. Yeah. So in animation, right? They often use keyframes, and these are kind of like certain points of the animation where they exaggerate the most, and then they draw some of the intermediate frames in between the keyframes to kind of give the illusion of it being more animated than it is. I'm not very good at this, obviously. I'm not an animator, but you know, it's always really cool to look at this and how they kind of plan out these keyframes. Everything's always very exaggerated, right? So that when all the frames come together, it really looks really nice. Oh man, a lot of suggestive stuff and a lot of Japanese things. I love this. This character is really cool, by the way. It's a play on Little Red Robin Hood, or Little Red Riding Hood. Robin Hood, what the fuck? And she actually has so Capcom is notorious for having different names for characters in Japan and in America, and Darkstalkers is pretty bad. So this character's name is BB Hood in America, but her name in Japan is Boletta. It gets really confusing after a while, and it's kind of a Capcom game thing. I think there are other Japanese games that are kind of like that, but yeah, she's like, in her background story, she's kind of a psychopath. She hunts monsters and Darkstalkers like that. She's purely human, but she actually gets transported to hell because she's so unbelievably evil. She's almost on the same level as evil as these other characters. It's pretty cool. Yeah, very suggestive. The Japanese. I kind of like this. These are really cool designs. I forget, is this thing? I think this is, yeah, this is Darkstalkers 3. So this is Darkstalkers 3, also called Vampire Savior in Japan. Yeah, Jetta. Jetta's a really cool character. QB's a really cool character. Yeah, man, the Japanese, like, dude, look at all these unique character designs. They're really cool. All these character sketches, all this stuff. And then you can also see the concept art for like the video games and the different appearances that they've had in other video games. Because Capcom, even though this series is technically dead, Capcom has reused these characters in many of their crossover series and other types of video games. But yeah, this book is it's just a joy to look at. It's also a joy to study, honestly, because there's so many different styles of art within this one book. It's really cool to take a look at it and take a look at how each different artist approaches anatomy, gesture, eyes, facial features, emotions, all that kind of stuff, action poses. Obviously, action poses and action keyframes are really great to go through this book because, I mean, all this art is generated towards creating a fighting video game, which you're going to need very good animation and action poses if you want that to look good. Anyway, like I promised, art. So I drew this for the comic book last time. I didn't put it in because obviously that was an OBS studio video, so I was just taking screen capture from my computer. But again, this is just a little sequential art run that I did with Morgan and Felicia, the two female leads in Darkstalkers. I think if I look back on this, I'm not really happy with the way I drew Felicia. I think I could have made her look a lot cuter. I think the cat lady has to look a little cute. I forgot to draw her ears here. What the fuck? I'm just going to say her ears are in the hair, okay? Sorry about that. Ears need to be here. I'm not just like looking at this right now. I actually drew this in about an hour and 30 minutes. I was trying to get the figures right, and then I just kind of realized some of the facial expressions aren't really as good as I like. I actually kind of like the way I drew Morgan here. I don't like the way I drew her here because her head is too big for her body. I have to make her head shorter right here. If you take a look at it, like, here's Felicia's feet, and then this is kind of like in the background, you know, kind of like a worm's eye view, but her head is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's like 6. It needs to be like 7 or 8, so her head has to squish right there. Oh well. not bad, honestly. I kind of like this and where I was going with this one, but need to keep working on it. I think I could make that facial expression a lot better, and then I forgot her ears. But overall, not a bad effort right here. I kind of like it for the most part. Speaking of which, yeah, I kind of like, I don't show this often, like my sketchbook, but a lot of times you'll see me sketch some things in this little book right here, like I did the Garth Ennis picture a while back. So this is me sketching Morgan. See, I drew her like way better than this one. What the hell's wrong with me? And then this one right here is Felicia. This is kind of pretty cool foreshortening. I think her arm is too long right here. And I drew her face like way better than this one. What the hell's wrong with me? By the way, this is me kind of like game planning for something that's coming up, which is going back to Secret Wars. I will do issue 6 or 5, I believe, coming up probably this weekend, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, that's the video. This is the art and the book. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. You got any comments on Darkstalkers, the Complete Works art, or my art, leave it down below, and I will see you next time.